Housing is one of the best features Blizzard has released in recent times, and I've been having a blast with the game ever since its release. But as I already mentioned in my last video, player housing still has a long way to go, and many ways it can improve itself. In this video, I will mention every feature that is still missing in the system that will most definitely improve the overall quality of player housing. Also, I'm not trying to bash the system and highlight every negative aspect of it, but rather a list of things I wish for Blizzard to add in the future. So before we waste any more time, let's jump straight in with the first one. Many players' endgame is simply collecting mounts and pets, and currently there's literally no way of showing them off to the community except AFKing in the major city on a specific mount. I would really like to showcase my mounts and pets in my own plot. I understand if they can't do it outdoors due to all the lag it would cause for everyone else, but having a feature where I can show off my mounts in my own home would be so cool. People would create mount stalls or special rooms just to have all their favorite mounts lined up, showing everybody else how much better they are. Making it possible to add pets would probably also inspire a lot of people to create Pokemon-esque designs, where they create a Pokemon arena and invite their friends over to fight each other in a true Pokemon battle. Or honestly, just a cozy vibe with your pet strolling around the house, occasionally sitting down on the couch and peeing on the carpet. World of Warcraft's main endgame progression is getting better and better gear, and gear makes up most of the dopamine kick this game offers, so why exactly are we not able to show off all that fancy gear we collected over the past 2 decades? Let us display our favorite tier sets right next to a wall filled with all the legendary weapons we obtained. How would you achieve that? Well, just add armor and weapon stands and make them customizable with all the gear the player has already unlocked in his wardrobe. Imagine walking into someone's house and immediately knowing what expansion they played, which raids they farmed to the brink of insanity, or what their rarest piece of equipment is. Player housing should feel like a museum of your WoW journey, and armor stands are a massive part of that. Like, simply imagine walking into your friend's house and the first thing you see is T-Boo's blazing longsword. How cool is that? And since we're already talking about it, add a wardrobe that functions as a transmogrifier. Obviously, this particular item should be behind more work than just simply buying it off a vendor for like 2 gold, but I think it would add so much more immersion to the housing system if you could actually make use of your decor in some type of way other than decoration. Like logging out in your bed for increased rested XP, cooking food in your kitchen and getting a food buff of some sort, maybe some type of minor rep or XP boost. I don't want any game-changing mechanics in housing whatsoever. Just some nice little things like these that further emphasize the RP and immersion to the game. Now, I don't know how Blizzard didn't implement this feature right at launch, but it's driving me and so many other players crazy. If I put down an empty bookshelf and decorate it by filling it up with different sorts of books and maybe some other things, and then realize that I misplaced the bookshelf and want to move it again, I have to move every single piece of decor individually. Why is there no object grouping in the game? Just allow us to mass select a set number of decor items and let us move them in a cluster rather than one by one. A bookshelf isn't even that painful to relocate, but I've seen a few builds already where people would rip their hair out if they tried to move it. Alongside grouping, we also need a duplication feature. Any serious decorating system needs a way to duplicate objects. Many builds require multiple of the same decor item, and with the duplication feature, decorating would become so much faster and less tedious. Let's take the bookshelf as an example again. You build your bookshelf, filled it up with books and whatnot, and now you want that exact same bookshelf again somewhere else in your house. Well, get back to your drawing board, because you will have to do everything again and there's no way of copying the build you already have. Or if I place a candle and want 10 more identical candles in that same size and form, I shouldn't have to manually replace each one of them from scratch. One great idea would be to add a save build feature like in Tears of the Kingdom. What I'm trying to say is that without this feature, building large spaces becomes tedious and many players might stop experimenting if they don't want to go through the hassle of replacing every single unit one by one. Another very big feature that needs to be in the game is a shopping list feature of some sort. Select how much you need of any item and put them all down in a list. Go through all the vendors that sell these items and never lose track of the things you already bought, if you bought enough, and if that was even the right item for your decor. And since some decor items are incredibly expensive, this feature would help out so much and save so much more money in the long run. With all these different features like duplicating and grouping stuff, we will also be needing an undo and redo button. This should go without saying, honestly. There should always be an undo/redo button whenever you build or create something. Maybe you accidentally rotated the item the wrong way or deleted it by accident. Maybe you want to see how a decor item would look like in a specific type of way. If you had these buttons, you could freely test out things and quickly fix little mistakes that right now would take you a bit until you get it like the way it was before you messed up. These 2 buttons alone would make decorating way more stress-free and encourage bold experimentation without the fear of ruining something you already built. With that, you should also be able to completely reset an object. Sometimes you just fiddle around with an item and test out several different settings at once, and at the end you don't even like it, so you want it back to its original state. I mean, you can theoretically just delete the item and put it out again, but that's just an extra step for something so simple, and it shouldn't really be needed, to be honest. Now, this is something I talked about in my add-ons video. This basic preview window is just full-blown ass. You can only rotate the decor items horizontally, so if you want to see the top or the bottom of an item, good luck, because the only way to do that is by buying the item, placing it down in your plot, and take a look at it for yourself. I simply don't understand why this is even a thing and not already 3D, as it is such a simple thing to add. There are already tons of add-ons like Plumber who already added this feature, and it feels so much better to look through all the vendors. Some items you simply cannot even see because they are too flat, so looking at pathways are pretty much out of the question for you if you don't have add-ons like Plumber. With that, I would also like to have a proper scale visualization. Plumber does this pretty well with the implementation of a banana to the preview window, giving you a better visual of the actual scale of the item. Without that, you really can't distinguish a small rock from a massive boulder, and before you know it, you have the rock from SpongeBob sitting in your front yard.
That's just a stupid boulder!
It's not just a boulder! It's a rock!
While we're at the topic of vendors, please, for the love of God, let me buy multiple pieces of a single decor item without having to spam click on it like a madman. I'm tired of having to install add-ons for quality of life things like buying items in bulk when that mechanic has been already in the game for multiple decades. For whatever reason, Blizzard just forgot to add the mechanic of bulk buying into every single decor vendor, so if you need 50 rocks for your build, have fun clicking your mouse 50 times and probably miscalculating and ending up with 48 at the end, requiring you to run back to the vendor like an idiot and getting the other 2 pieces. This is something that really annoys me, and the fact that every other vendor in the game has this feature except housing vendors makes me wonder if Blizzard even playtested their own feature at all. I mean, this was mentioned in the beta, and they did nothing about it. It's just weird, man. Alright, and the last point, which is pretty minor but still bothers me, we need more trophies. And I don't mean some generic decorations, I mean raid boss trophies, M+ achievements, PvP accomplishments, expansion specific milestones. We already have the Head of Onyxia as a trophy. Now do the same thing for other bosses like Razagath, Dimensius, and pretty much every other final raid boss. A Frostmourne decor or the Helm of Domination would be so cool to have in our house. And before you get at me with pitchforks and torches and complain that the lore would suffer from that, let me tell you that the Head of Onyxia also shouldn't be in our possession, nor should the artifact weapons, and yet we still have those things with us all the time. Housing is a system that doesn't affect the main game in any shape or form, so it also shouldn't affect the lore. So if Blizzard decides to go that extra step and start ignoring the lore and everything that comes with it, we can truly have some epic pieces of decor in our home one day. What do you think though? What features do you guys miss, and what do you think of my ideas? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're there, consider subscribing and helping me reach the 10,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year. If you want to follow me on my journey to becoming Bob the Builder in WoW and watch me collect every single decor item that exists in the game, check out this video. Anyways, that's it from me. I wish you all a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one.